You come a long way, traveller. Not every day you find someone out here by the river. Come, I was just about to take a short rest. Why don't you join us? Put on a nice stew and tell stories of revelry, competition, companionship, whatever your heart desires, my friend. In fact, I think I may have a story in mind.
Okay. We return with short rest. It has been so long, but I have finally captured 3 more D&D YouTubers to come and sit down and have a conversation with me. Not against their will. They are here.
Do I count now? Because
No,
I've been on the
you're...
podcast with you. Do I count? Because you said 3 more.
No, because you're actually locked in my house, so...
Yeah, I'm in his basement. He captured me.
No, but on a way more serious note, we have the lovely hosts of So You Want to Be a DM. We got Justin and Taylor here with us. They are fantastic people. Justin's a fantastic DM. Taylor, do you do DMing also?
I do on occasion, but Justin's better than I am, so...
So 2 wonderful DMs then. They give wonderful advice pertaining to the hobby of tabletop RPGs. They also have some wonderful campaigns, some anthology series style campaigns. Their most recent one, Sphinx City, which is undergoing season 2 as at the time of this recording. One of my favorites, The Public Domains, just for my love of the public domain in general.
That was fun.
Justin is also yes, sir. Justin is also also writes stuff for. I don't know if you still do it, but you have written some stuff for the DMs Guild, just like on your own accord. Which actually, sure. Let's get into our first bullet point. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was looking at stuff from the DMs Guild and from like some RPG websites, and you had put up something a while ago called Memory and Murder, and the name Sphinx City came up for that. And so I kind of want to delve into that a little bit. Did Memory and Murder come before or after the whole idea of Sphinx City? Like, was that the jumping point, or is that just something on the side that eventually became something bigger?
Great question. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me and Taylor here. Absolute pleasure. Excited to discuss D&D and other tabletop stuff, as well as ourselves, because we're narcissistic at our core. So let's be honest.
This is the podcast for you, then.
And so,
aren't we all a little narcissistic?
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yes. Let me, as I wax brilliantly on my genius inspiration. No, so truth be told, Sphinx City came first I was building a setting. I wanted to build a setting based very loosely on New York City, specifically Manhattan, and have it be, can I do modern 5e without, I'm not looking at any hacks or other people who have done it. I just want to see if I could do it with as minimal intrusion or homebrew as possible. And the Memory and Murder thing that is on DM's Guild was me testing the waters a little bit, just to see like if it was a popular idea, if people were interested in doing both modern and fantasy, like magical. There spells exist. There's a pantheon of deities. It's D&D, but there are also cell phones and taxi cabs and subways and all the like. And so that's where that came from. It was really like, I want to put a Sphinx City product out there, but I also am not ready to do the entire setting book yet. That's something Taylor and I have our eyes set on, but that's like, we're talking thousands of dollars for artwork, right? Like, and that's just artwork alone. Not anything else. So we're talking Kickstarter down the line, but it is in the works.
That is not cheap.
Nope.
No, it is not, which is why this was just like a simple one shot. Maybe a 2-shot. So it was just like really, really basic. Didn't mention every single location that there is to know about Sphinx City. It was just, here's a little murder mystery thing that goes on.
Yeah.
in
I
Sphinx City as the setting.
I specifically love how Memory and Murder opens with everyone waking up at the crime scene. Like I was just
with their memories wiped.
yeah. I was scrolling through it and I was like,
last
oh my
24
god. And
Yeah.
that just got me interested in that from the get-go. Admittedly, I just skimmed through it because like when I was looking up your guys' channel and when I was like going through your stuff, I had learned that you did some writing for DM's Guild, just for your own personal projects. And when I saw Memory Murder, I saw Sphinx City, and I was like, oh, here we go. Here's the origin point.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the pit stops along the way for Sphinx City. But I started playing it as a home game actually first.
Oh, okay.
Played as a home game with a table full of women. And if you've never played with a table full of women, assuming that they'll have you, I highly recommend it because it is one of the most rewarding experiences.
Assuming you can find any women.
It was beautiful if it can happen. But
Yeah.
it is, if it's assuming you provide that safe space where.
Of course, yes.
Assuming we go outside and meet women.
Magic can exist in the real world, and so can miracles. And so
Yeah.
I think that's how Sphinx City was born, with this home game, and then it spiraled out of there, and then it just became like this thing that I talked about with a ton of people. It became a one shot that I ran for potential new cast members, like as a sort of litmus test of let's meet each other and see if we jive. And so I was just running the same one shot from Sphinx City over and over again, and everybody, even people who like weren't huge fans of D&D as a system, seem to enjoy the setting because it puts you into an interesting place where you're like, okay, I get to play my stereotypical paladin, but how would that look in a modern setting where cell phones and the internet and leather jackets and skateboards exist,
Yeah, like maybe
and
he's
so
a
you
beat
get to
cop.
play with so much more.
It is super interesting.
100%, yeah. And wrapping back on like getting more people into it, because Sphinx City season 1, Jesus, started out with just 3 players. It was, and I am blanking on the names. Taylor was one of the players, and then you had 2 more,
Sean and Dale.
Sean and Dale, yes. And then and then with season 2, you had brought on Daniel Hargrove and Molly Adaza. How did that come to be? Because I know Daniel Hargrove, he's appeared on the channel more than once.
He's been in everything we've done.
He's been in
pretty much everything.
Sphinx City season 1.
Absolute rock star.
Yeah, he's also a really great person. I wanted to talk to him at some point. And then you got Molly Adaza, who I'm not sure the history with there. I know they're somewhat prevalent in like the small D&D YouTube space or content creation space.
Yeah, for sure. She's a published author. She writes fantasy books, and so she comes with a certain level of creativity that is unmatched. Certainly, fun things come in small packages, as they say.
Yeah, yeah.
And her and the character she created, Tint, are no exception.
Yeah, and getting more into it, because season 1 started out with like these 3 people, and then you have somewhat of like a brand new cast with like chapter 2. Was there any reasoning behind that, or like did you guys just want to like leave chapter 1 as like a closed book and then start a new story, or like what was the thought process?
Season 1 was our very first kind of foray into the Twitch actual play space, and season 1 was really, hey, which one of our friends has the availability to do this? Sean and Dale, they were from my personal table, and they were kind enough to join in on us. Both of them amazing D&D players, and it really was just kind of a, hey, we want to do this thing, but we don't really have a like platform yet, when it comes to Twitch and stuff like that. So it was kind of a, hey, let's get people together. And then when it came time for season 2, unfortunately, Sean was not available for season 2.
Right.
So we gave him a very sweet little, he's got his own little side story going on where him and his love interest have gone off on a vacation, so that
Mhm.
if season 3 rolls around and he's available, we'd love to have him back.
Yeah.
But we really did want to kind of expand the number of voices that we had on the channel. Especially being the space D&D being the community and space that it is. We wanted to get as much representation and stuff as we could, and
course.
also like I said, Daniel is an amazing amazing D&D player, amazing DM, amazing person in general. Molly's the same. Love them both to death. And it really kind of came down to, we had played a few, like we do some off-screen D&D games.
Of
And
course.
then like just these, we sent a text out, like a message out, like, hey, who's available? And Molly and Daniel were available, and we were super excited. And yeah, I mean, it really was just kind of we wanted to expand the table some.
Yeah. So it was a really fun opportunity because the story does continue from season 1 into season 2, albeit there's like a 6-month gap in the game.
Yeah.
But then Taylor and Dale are playing the same characters from season 1, and Daniel and Molly just join in, which was really easy because we had this whole, like, the whole party in season 1 was part of a top secret international organization called No One, spelled with a K.
Awesome.
And so it was pretty easy to be like, okay, 2 new people are joining in. How are your characters connected to this No One organization? Because that's the easiest way. I find that for an actual play, things can get a little bit more railroady than maybe a home game.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, hey, dog, our recording schedule permits us these many days, this many hours. Like, truly, I can't have us just be like, actually, we're going to do a million other things. It's like, we don't have time. We simply don't. We must get to episode 8, and by episode 8, the BBG needs to be taken out. However you get there, I don't give a shit.
For sure.
But
Sort of
at some
like a
point-
Dimension 20 style thing. You have a set amount of episodes to get to the end point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it comes down to scheduling. I think in a perfect world, maybe
It
we
really
could
does.
open it up a little bit and get a little loosey-goosey. And we're trying that with a current project we're working on, where we intentionally put extra days in this recording schedule in case we need an extra episode. But it's already causing me so much, like, fudging stress.
You can swear on
Thinking
here.
about,
This is
I don't
You can swear. We fucking
No, it's
swear here.
cool.
Hey, no,
It's
wait.
my own, it's
So-
my own thing.
Hey, it's I completely understand, but I will let you know we have said worse on this
Okay.
channel.
Yeah.
No, but for sure, man. Like on our, we of course do have that very open and loose kind of schedule because, everyone's got their own lives, and like even though we do plan things on like a weekly basis, right? We don't really have the end goal is in sight, but in terms of how many episodes it takes to get there, I commend you guys for like having the brains and wits to pull that off, because
I couldn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
none of us could do
I
that.
would not be capable. No.
It's all Justin.
With the parties that we have for our games, it would never happen. We'd be like, oh, 8 episodes? I'd rather die.
Yeah.
It will take us at least 8. It would take us at least 8 to get the party on the same page.
Yeah, that's the thing is we've been really lucky though to have casts who they buy in. So they like see the vision, they get it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that really helps out a lot, is that they're willing to sort of play along and like kind of, hey, I need everybody's character to give a shit about the plot.
Right.
Whatever it is. That's like a low bar you have to cross.
Of
no
course,
edge lords.
yeah.
No, like, get out of here.
We all have to be objective.
Yes. Right. That's why shows like yours, you know, if we're being narcissistic here, but no, like
Which we are.
yes, it's that reason why like analog, like anthology type D&D shows are like one of my favorite things. Like, are you two fans of Dimension 20?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm so kidding. I'm so kidding. I gobble it up. Just yeah. I love it.
No,
I
yeah,
love it
we-
all.
Well, I,
do.
I thought I was gonna have an excuse to rant about D20.
Well, if I got the D&D show for you.
Oh, well.
Yeah, no, I just watched their trailer today for their new
Oh
season.
yes, Cloudward Ho. Yes, I'm so excited for that.
Cloudward Ho.
Mhm.
What did you
Yeah.
call me?
A cloud.
Yeah.
Word.
All right.
Fantasy.
Um,
You're welcome.
But yeah, that's why I love like those anthology type D&D shows, because even though you know, like, you have a set amount of episodes that you're expecting from them, but it literally could go in any sort of direction, right? Like it's literally like watching television, even though like the two are very much a different sort of medium.
Yeah, it's
Do you-
helpful as well for people like me who have shorter attention spans of being like, all right, there's 8 episodes, I can do that. Or it's like if I go and try to watch
of
like
course.
if I go and try to
Critical
watch
Role.
like Critical Role and I see
Yeah.
100 episodes, I'm out. You lost me.
And
Sorry.
season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're lucky to get 100 episodes with Critical Role. No,
Yeah,
and we like
I'd
Critical
piece out of
Role and,
that.
like, we respect what they've done, and it's an incredible feat. And
course.
it's a
Yeah.
cool idea to do to live in these characters for multiple years in real life. Like that, there's something to it. That no knocking them. However, we don't have the attention span. Or the
Yes.
interest. It was like real
Yeah.
early days for So You Want to Be a DM, where Taylor and I were like, okay, on the spectrum of Critical Role, aka 3-year campaigns,
Mm-hmm.
and Dimension 20, maximum 20 episodes a season,
Yeah.
where we don't even come close to that, right? The most we've done
Right.
is 8. We're
Yeah.
thinking about expanding to maybe 12, 16 at most. But even then, it's just more time for scheduling.
Yeah.
But it comes down to an attention span thing and an interest thing. And like Taylor and I are both neurodivergent. So it's like,
Same
I'm going to
here.
get bored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Me
my
too.
ADHD can't
Me
handle
too.
doing the exact same. I mean, we have a home game that's been on, it's coming close to 5 years now, and I love it and it's fun. And I play with it a lot. I use it as like an experiment lab of trying new things. So it's
Mhm.
at least somewhat
Of
exciting.
course.
My
Excuse me,
laboratory.
if it wasn't for that, I'd be out.
Oh.
I can't.
Yeah,
I
I'm
need
It's
to
like,
just
I can-
kind of-
new vibes.
Yeah, I'm the
was-
same way. I can play in several several year long campaigns, but I can't watch them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of ultimately kind of came down to that of we have a lot of different stories that we want to tell. So many that it wouldn't be practical for us to do each one as a multi-year thing. I mean, we'd be doing this for 20
You'd
years.
run out of time.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
There's not enough
Yeah.
time. Not enough time.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Let's get.
Exactly.
I want to get more into that because you both have been doing like y'all have been playing D&D together for a long amount of time, and So You Want to Be DM, as far as to my knowledge, started like a year or two ago.
Yeah,
How-
like a year and a half.
Yeah.
The
Like-
podcast, at least a year and a half. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So here's like the biggest, like the big, like what's the origin story behind the channel? Like the most basic question I can ask: how did So You Want to Be DM start?
Well, Taylor and I played D&D together
Mm-hmm.
in
Mhm.
different home games. I think maybe the first one was Strahd. Was Strahd the
I
first
think
one?
Strahd was the first one. Yeah. That was I was kind of at the time I was a mechanic with none of my work friends like to do the nerdy stuff that I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our mutual friends was talking about D&D on Facebook, and it really came down to a, hey, I've been listening to a bunch of actual plays while I work. I'd love to play D&D. Wink, wink, hint, hint.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, well, you should just join our new game that we're getting ready to start. And I was like, score, let's do it.
I've done it.
Yeah.
And that's how Strahd happened. We were both players in that game.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And yeah.
And then that fizzled out because the DM was unreliable.
Ah.
To throw his ass right under a big bus.
Oh my god.
Go for it.
Sorry, bud.
Spill
Sorry,
the
bud.
tea.
Sorry,
Unreliable.
not sorry. Hashtag
Yeah,
sorry,
no
not sorry.
faith. in any campaign lasting. Every time it was like, "Hey Justin, do you want to do a new campaign? I have this idea," and I'd be like, "I'll play your new game for 2 sessions." Sure. Anyway, that's just me being really salty because
God, I have been
I
there.
was already the forever DM, and it was like, you know, somebody asks to DM and you're like, "Yes, you angel, please," and then they stab you in the back when they're like, "Sorry, it's not going to work out." No. So eventually we do our own thing. We start our own home campaign. I'm the DM. It's my own homebrew version of Forgotten Realms because this was the very first thing I had ever written or homebrewed or ran.
Mhm.
So I took an established world, the Forgotten Realms, Faerun, Waterdeep, right?
Mhm.
And I just took out all of the things I didn't like, added things I did like, changed around some stuff, whatever. And then I think a couple of years go by. I think like 2 years go by of us just doing this.
Mhm.
And then eventually it was like I had started doing a podcast with my sister and it was all about movies and it was just 2 people who don't know anything about movies just shooting the shit about movies.
Oh,
I did that for like
shit.
a year and a half. So I learned how to do a podcast and all the different things that go into it and social media and everything.
Right.
And then Taylor hit me up, was like, "Hey man, do you want to do this D&D podcast?" And I was like, "Fuck yes, please." 'Cause this movie one is sucks. It's not doing well. The numbers are bad. And I'm bored with it. And I'm like, I don't want to watch these movies. My sister's having me watch weird movies. I don't care. But Trolls World Tour, I've seen it.
Oh, you poor thing.
It's good,
Oh,
but I
no.
mean, please. It's a cute movie, don't get me wrong, but come on.
Yeah.
5 times. That's a little excessive.
Yeah. So then we just linked up. We made a Google Doc. We started talking about it. Taylor came up with the name, and I was like, "Brother, that's got to be taken." Like,
Nope.
there's no way we're gonna be able to get So You Want to Be a DM anywhere. And I start looking it up, and it's free everywhere I looked, and I was like, "Damn, let's do it."
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
And
Nice.
yeah. And then we
Struck
built up
gold,
like
though.
a catalog of episodes before we ever published one. You know, we had like 10 episodes, 15 episodes in the bank.
It's like a month or 2 of just every Sunday recording 1 or 2 episodes
Mhm.
and putting them in the bank so that when the inevitable happened, once we started broadcasting,
We could
of
stay consistent.
right,
Mhm.
exactly, because
we
that's one of the
we've
biggest
never missed a
things
week.
is like with content creation is you
Damn.
got that consistency is key. And currently, I think we have 1 episode in the bank right now. we burned
Yeah,
through
we've
a
caught up
lot.
big time.
Damn, all
but
right.
we still haven't missed a week in a year and a
Nice.
half. So
That is
That's a big
impressive.
accomplishment. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, it's hard work, but you know, it's
mhm.
important to us to keep that going and stay strong and come
Absolutely.
up with new topics and shit.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah, we decided early on that we were like, oh, you know, let's do a slightly more educational podcast rather than a podcast that is strictly actual plays.
Right.
And
Yeah, 'cause-
so we started, you know, So You Want to Be a DM. It's geared towards us helping people feel more comfortable being dungeon masters. That's the whole shtick of the whole thing. And then
Mhm.
slowly as time went, we added a TikTok. I already had a D&D Instagram, so I just changed the name to So You Want to Be a DM.
Yep.
We get a YouTube, we get a Twitch. We slowly start adding in actual plays and other material, and then we get a Patreon, and now we have merch. And so it's just been slowly
Hell yeah.
ramping up over the year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? Once we hit the 2-year mark, we'll start looking at cons and different things. And
Yeah.
Hell
we'll
yeah,
see.
man. We'll see. Yeah.
Nice.
It's all about just like running with it and seeing where it goes. Because the main premise of this podcast, not Tabletop Chaos in general, but Short Rest, is to bring in what can be classified under the umbrella of small content creator, right? Like, you know, they're not Critical Role, they're not your skill check, right? They're just people posting stuff online and seeing where it goes, and it's mostly for fun. So
no doubt.
yeah.
I mean, the goal is definitely to like full pay our bills with this.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
The goal.
Absolutely.
But like, no doubt, it's definitely been an interesting the relationship between having like patience in the sense of like, hey man, it's only been a year and a half, like chill. You're not gonna be getting hit up by fucking NADPOD
Yeah.
being like, "We need to tour with you." Like, that's not gonna happen. That's fine. While
I
also
have
having
Brian
the
Murphy in my
urgency-
DMs. I don't know what y'all are on. Okay.
I played with one of the 3 black halflings, and I bring it up all the time, and I'll
Oh
take it.
shit, that's awesome.
Jeremy
God
Cobb in 2 different
Nice.
charity streams. I was pumped. In one of
Hell
them, I was
yeah.
in full drag. It was crazy. I could barely see him through my eyelashes, false eyelashes, the whole thing.
That's what's
I
up.
played an older Hollywood agent who talked like this.
Nice.
Darling, I need your headshot.
That is so
It was
cool.
so much fun. But so then yeah, what was I talking about?
No, man. Getting onto
an
that
interesting
boat.
journey.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and like I've always thought about like with stuff like with tabletop chaos. Like, of course, like the dream is to like pay your bills with this stuff, go to cons, meet Matthew Mercer. That's never gonna happen.
I have met Erika Ishii in person.
Never say never.
She
That is
signed a
awesome.
dice box for me.
I love that.
That's
I
what's
love
up.
that.
Nice.
So, in the end goal of things, do you think it's view count or experience that truly matters at the end of the day?
That's a great question.
Okay, right? Because on one hand, you have the experience under your belt. You've been doing it for so long, and you love it. But what if, like, after 10 years, you're still pulling like 10 views? Like,
No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm gonna go with experience, because I think as I get more experience, it is different. Like I said, like doing a home game versus doing an actual play is inherently different.
of
Right.
course.
Of course.
And making it in a way that is designed not just, hey, let's just record our home game for fun, that way we can look back on it and laugh and it'll be like a cute memento. Like, that's so fun, and I love that for people.
Mhm.
That's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're genuinely
Yeah.
going out of our way to create entertaining content for an audience.
Yeah,
So
like
like
you're
there's so much that goes into that, and Taylor and I didn't go to school for this shit. Like, I have a bachelor's degree I don't touch, I've never used, and it certainly isn't in business or marketing or graphic design or any of these things.
yeah. I mean,
It's
like
in neuroscience.
to
Like,
build-
I'm fucked. I'm teaching myself how to do all of this stuff. So I think, like, as I gain experience, true, yes, in 10 years, if I'm gaining all this experience on how to constantly improve and build upon myself and ourselves as a brand, and in 10 years we're in the exact same spot logistically, like numbers wise, then yes, I would actually see that as a failure. But that's because
Yeah.
I would say that my experience hasn't manifested. It hasn't done anything. What have I clearly
Yeah.
haven't used my experience to the best of its uses if the numbers haven't changed at all.
of course. Like, I
And
know I
that's
went
like,
with
'cause I'm
worst.
neurotic about the numbers.
I know I
check
went
the
with
numbers
worst case
all too
scenario,
often.
but like it's interesting, right? Because I still want to be doing this stuff, even if it doesn't become popular. But if the dream is to have this become your source of income, then there's a lot that's got to go on, right? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
no doubt.
and it's getting to the like kind of the experience thing. The experience is leading to better quality, if
course.
nothing else. I mean, and that's hopefully going to lead to more viewership. I'm more firmly into the experience thing, because I mean, even with Sphinx City, if you look at the difference between season 1 and season 2, it's a night and day difference
yeah, of course.
of what we've done in the past. And I think, as long as I'm a firm believer of the journey before destination line of thought,
Yes. That is-
and I really do, I'm in it for the experience. It would suck to be 10 years into it and still have the same numbers that we've got right now, but I honestly don't see that as a possibility, because of
Yeah,
I mean, every season is a level up, baby.
yeah.
Every season is better than the last one we did.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, like, of course, like, the more experience you get, the more you learn, the more you adapt, the more you grow, and
Mhm.
like, even if the difference, like when I started YouTube 4 different times, and I gave up like only like a month in because I was like, oh, nothing's happening, right? But then with Tabletop Chaos, I was like, okay, let's lock in, let's see where this goes. And then, and it wasn't even Tabletop Chaos that technically blew up, so this is a fun story. I had a personal channel that I would just do video diaries on. I didn't do it as much, but I did it. And then out of nowhere, we spiked up to 400 subscribers. Out of nowhere. I still don't know what video it came from. I don't know what occurred. I don't know what changed. But it was like, oh shit. Here's an audience on a channel that is never getting touched. And then here's Tabletop Chaos with like 2. And so...
Right.
Switch the branding. Like, but like it sounds bad, but like if you look at the logistics of it, it's like you're gonna be putting content onto something that people are gonna watch, like actually tune into.
Yeah.
And like even then, like that wasn't from experience, that was just luck. Like that just happened out of nowhere. And so
that's the crazy thing about internet algorithms is one day it just decides to put you in front of a bunch of people. And when that happens, that I think is when the experience pays off.
Yeah.
Because like
100%.
people will click because they see it, but the experience will make them stay, right?
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Like that increase in quality that you guys were talking about. That's the kind of stuff that makes people stay.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's that really cheesy quote about this is so dumb. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like the idea that like you could have gotten those 400 subscribers and immediately squandered it and just like, lost them quickly, right? If you didn't seize the moment. But like,
that was the big fear.
Because we've had similar things happen with us too. Like our Patreon got like so many free members very quickly, and it was like, what is happening? Why are they here? Thank you, but why?
Who are you people?
What made you want to do this?
Yeah.
Did the
Fill out the
FBI
welcome survey,
find
please.
me, or is this is this a psyop? No. No, but truly, like, because I brought up the argument of experience over view count, but at the end of the day, they're tied to the one biggest factor, which is luck and preparation, right?
Yeah.
No doubt. It's a lot of testing things and like plug and chug and just see what works. You know, like there's it's weird how over the years there's become such an exact science to a YouTube thumbnail.
Yeah.
You know, but it takes that extra effort to maybe do a little A/B testing and like look into all the different ways that you can improve the title and the SEO, and like there's so much bullshit that you have to work around, right? Like to work in the social media world, you have to figure things out. Like how many hashtags is too many hashtags before it becomes cringy for people to click on my stuff? Or like, do I need to do the Wojak face, or do I just like trying to just make it all work, and how trends happen and fads, and especially with TikTok with different trends and things.
The amount of times
when we first started our TikTok, it was D&D memes, you know, like those little templates where you just scroll. They're a dime a dozen, right? And we were making a killing, not monetarily, obviously. We're just starting a TikTok account, but like followers wise, we're crushing it. We're getting like tens of thousands of views. Yeah. Like just doing so well, skyrocketing. But I was getting zero creative like joy.
Yes, 100%.
I'm just finding a template of a funny sound from it's Michael from The Office going no, and I just put a little title that says when the DM says blah, 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 blah. And I post it on TikTok and it crushes. And I was like, we could do this, but I'd rather not do as well as fast. Like I'd rather take a slower time building up an audience than doing this shit. Because no offense to anyone who does it, by the way, not trying to bag people at all.
It's just not what's satisfying for you.
Yeah,
it's not satisfying to me. It was almost too easy. And if just because somebody follows you because you make a bunch of silly little memes, does that mean they're gonna follow you on Patreon and pay money to see you do an actual play? Like, where's the connection?
Right.
How do you,
like
how do you convert those people? And it's starting to sound all very salesy, which unfortunately, again,
Yeah.
we're
Well,
trying
it
to make
is
money.
the
So like,
business, though.
it has to
Yeah,
be,
that is the
yeah.
business.
hmm
You know, on
That-
social media, when doing this stuff, you have to sell yourself. So that's what you're selling
Yeah.
to an audience.
I
It's you
know.
and your players.
in
100%.
in some way you're trying to build up a brand, and for you don't want your brand to be the D&D meme guy, which is understandable. Like if you're trying to make something that, you know, fuels your creative outlets, you know, like it's Michael Scott isn't gonna, you know, make you happy all the time. I mean,
For sure.
for sure.
How dare you say that about Michael Scott?
It's Steve Carell, and you know it.
No.
But no, yeah, like part of it is building that brand, because even if you're trying to fuel that creative outlet, you want people to stay because you're creative and not because you know, post memes every single day. And again, no fault to people who do that on their like personal or like on their D&D meme accounts, because at the end of the day, they're probably just having fun with it.
yeah.
That's
know.
what satisfies them.
Yeah, that's what
Doesn't
satisfies
necessarily
them.
have to satisfy you.
But we really wanted the TikTok. I say this like I'm doing any of the TikTok creation. It's literally all Justin. But we kind of felt almost disingenuous in the memes, like they were saying of like the conversion rate. We were trying to do it as kind of a promotion for the podcast to get people to listen to the podcast. And if people are just there for the memes, they're just going to see haha and scroll past rather than you know, engaging in the discourse.
Yeah,
And
because you
actually
you had
trying to-
mentioned you'd mentioned like we're selling us.
Yeah.
What about a meme sells us?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Anybody could make that meme. It's
Mhm.
completely anonymous,
It's-
right? Like
It's content that the algorithm will be, oh, I'm going to throw this towards people who are doom scrolling right now. They're going to look at it for 2 seconds and then scroll past and keep going.
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, they'll give it a like, but they're gonna scroll past. They're not gonna think twice about. I wonder what other things this person is working on.
Yeah.
I wonder how this guy's day's
I wonder if they have
going.
merch. yeah, like it's not happening.
Right. And with and then when you guys put that turn on it with like your content creation style from D&D memes to now you're doing promotions for your own kind of stuff. Now you'll start to get the people who are like here for, oh, that's Justin and Taylor. That's, you know, so you want to be a DM. Oh, that's the that's the D&D
Absolutely.
guys.
That's the goal.
Yeah, like we're all the D&D guy in some way.
The really funny thing was Instagram. Our Instagram
Oh,
account
boy.
was all like, it was the same kind of deal. It's pretty much the same stuff between TikTok and Instagram.
Right.
When Justin made the switch from doing like the memes to like talking head videos,
Yeah.
the follower count dropped like a rock.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah, we went from like 29,000 to about 25,000
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
over
we
the
lost
course
a
of
whole
a year and a half.
slew of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it honestly is one of those things where like there's a world where Taylor and I probably would have been really bummed about that and been like really butthurt. But then it was very quickly being like, oh, okay, they're here for the memes, and that's
Yeah.
not what
Yeah.
we do. We don't make memes, and so goodbye.
They were there for content that you weren't satisfied with and didn't want to do anymore.
Mhm.
Exactly.
then-
So the people who will stay around will stay around, and the people who won't, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's
Like-
like, you know, we come out pretty hard when it comes to like things going on in the world and stuff. And we've made that decision kind of early on that it's like we're cool with like losing people if
Yeah.
they're not down.
Yeah. Like
That's okay.
yeah, the biggest way you can look at it is this. Yes, 29 to 25 is still a massive drop. There's still 25,000 people that are staying for you guys.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the same way
Yeah.
when I look at it, it's like, oh, 400. That's not that big of a subscriber count. No, imagine 400 people in a room. that is a lot of people.
Yeah, totally.
That's more people than most people could fit in their houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more people than most people could
Yeah.
fit on their property.
And you guys have a concert hall, basically.
Yeah. There's more people than most movie theaters could fit in a single theater.
For
Like,
sure.
that's-
Yeah. And it's, and, you know, and that's the best piece of advice for people to, like, it just in content creation in general. Don't compare yourselves to other people. Compare yourselves to yourself, right? Because yes, 100 followers is low. That's still 100 people that are tuning into you. So, and you know,
You gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere. Yeah,
absolutely.
And
Yeah, it is what it is. We're big believers also in, like, you can't wait for everything to be perfect. Sometimes you just gotta freaking send it.
Yeah.
Just send it.
Just fucking send
Absolutely.
it. We have in Sphinx City, we have Taylor's character has died twice. Spoilers, sorry. So sorry.
Oh,
Shit.
sorry.
So Taylor's character died twice. Once in season 1 in the very first fucking combat.
Oh no, that's the
that.
worst.
Imagine
Yeah.
it's your first actual play. You're live on Twitch. You've never done an actual play in your life, right? You're DMing. Your co-host, partner, friend, their character eats it. Nat 1 on death saves, like, just dies.
Biffs
And you
it.
can see the light leave Taylor's eyes in the episode, and it's like, oh no, what do I do now?
Oh no.
And so quickly I was like, I guess you have to come back to life, but I'm not going to force you to be like a warlock or something, but I'm going to bring you back to life, and I'm going to figure out how to do that. And so
It's like
on the spot, I invent a warlock patron, even though I don't force Taylor to be a warlock, because I just don't care about that.
yeah.
So I invent a warlock patron, and it's city. We're talking about New York City. It's the city. What is the vibes? Okay. What if like a fiend, and I base them 100% on the professional skateboarder Rodney Mullen, who we all know is chill as hell. And there's something about that that's so funny.
Yeah.
If you're unfamiliar, I highly recommend give it a Bing or a Goog. Check out Rodney Mullen's skate streeting.
I'm
He's the
looking
guy
up
who can
Rodney
do,
Mullen
like,
right
pogos.
now.
He's like spinning around. He literally invented the kickflip and a very special grind called the dark slide, where he skates where the grip tape is touching the rail as opposed to the bottom of the board.
This guy
it's
looked
almost
like he
impossible
invented the kickflip. I'm in the nicest way
He's
possible. He
sick
looks
as
like he
hell.
invented the kickflip.
He's sick as hell. And if you watch him in an interview, like nowadays, like I think Tony Hawk has a podcast. Everybody has a goddamn podcast.
Yep.
But
Oh my god, that guy invented the click. That is the guy that invented the kickflip. He looks like that.
Yeah. And that deity. So then Taylor's character's dead, and then you just hear, "Whoa, what's all, dude? You trying to be fucking alive again, dude?
I love that. I love that.
Yes.
Put her there, dude.
Put her there, dude.
Do the kickflip, dude." And so that's how Taylor's alive. And now Taylor's character has a compulsion. Anytime they see somebody skating, they must yell, "Do a kickflip."
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask. How much did that change your character? Like, were they
it-
moved?
Radically changed. Like, the original character concept was like this cool little, like, it was a monk artificer multi-class. And I was having a lot of fun. Steel Defender, I had this little doggo named Stu that would help me out. And in the first season, it kind of just, I immediately hard shifted from the artificer side. I was going to be leaning more into the artificer stuff because that's kind of what I was interested in.
Yeah.
But as soon as that happened, I did a hard shift, and now my character is a skater fucking bro.
Nice.
And like mechanically, it's not like rules is written, but like my little dog is now he transforms into a flying skateboard.
Yes, I was gonna ask you that. If you did that.
Yeah. He turns into a flying skateboard, and it really, like, I'm just like a skater bro now. I still do, and I went kind of more monk to give myself better dexterity and stuff like that.
Like
but
at the
yeah,
end of the day,
definitely.
you were the best class for a skater, I believe. Like in my opinion, monk is the perfect class to be a skater.
Yeah,
Not only the most mobile class, but you have an artificer that can make a dog that can transform into a skateboard. You were like just the best choices. For,
That is
for
some
a skater.
Saturday
That was really
morning
exciting.
cartoon stuff.
Seriously.
I
And that's
love
kind of
that.
the vibe of Sphinx City. I mean, one person that played in that setting compared it to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it was the greatest
Oh,
compliment
yeah.
I've ever gotten because I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh,
That's
fuck, you're
amazing.
right." That is kind of the vibe of
That
this
is the
kind of
vibe.
like there are
Amazing.
moments, like there are moments that are intense, right?
Mhm.
There
Yeah.
like there are moments where that are like kind of a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's very comic booky. It's very silly and colorful and just abstract and kind of ridiculous. I
Mhm.
mean, we have a gothic nightclub owned by a figure called Trinculo, who is, if you combined the Joker with Dr. Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror's Picture Show, that is
Awesome.
Trinculo. That's who owns this goth nightclub.
Mhm.
And when you talk to them, they're very quickly to be like, "Of course, I'll help you out, no problem. Did I ever tell you about the time I blowtorched someone's knees?" Anyway,
Anyway,
they cut
That's
me
so
in
funny.
line. They deserved it.
they have.
I had to do it to them.
Yeah,
I didn't want to do it to them.
inane shit.
This
They deserve
reminds me of the time.
Yeah, just like an absolute psychopath. And so that's
Mhm.
Sphinx City is just this absolute ridiculousness. Sewer City exists in the street, like in the sewers. A whole village of crocodile folk live
Mhm.
down there. They use a cryptocurrency called shitcoin. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Yep. Awesome.
Oh my god.
Oh no, you're
So-
gonna make
so
you're
in
gonna
the-
make
in
him
the
go
very-
off.
It's available on our website.
In the very first campaign I ever played in with Arthur, I made a character and that was super into crypto, and I made him make a whole homebrew crypto
Yeah.
mechanic for my character.
That's amazing.
He made a sorcerer subclass for my character,
Yeah, I did.
That's amazing.
So, like,
Amazing.
and it was every day I would make a roll.
Yeah.
If I succeeded the roll, my crypto investment went up. If I failed, it went down.
Yeah.
If I nat 20, it went up by extra. If I nat 1, it went down by extra.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I was in the red most of that campaign.
Yes, you were. Which is see the
Pretty
As
accurate.
crypto typically goes.
yeah. See, because I was in a
Absolutely
weird
accurate.
spot where it's like I fucking hate cryptocurrency, but I don't want to
Me
berate
too.
you for using that as your character.
No,
Like
the character was made to make fun of cryptocurrency. That was
Yeah.
the point.
It's amazing.
So-
Was
Yeah.
And so like,
Yeah, that's exactly what we did.
mhm.
Same thing.
uh,
It's
And
so
then-
funny. It's so funny making like big swings on your world building when you combine it with something from our current world, and you're like, okay, how do I fit this in this setting?
I love doing that.
What's the crypto
That is
of
my
this
favorite thing to do.
universe or whatever? Yeah, we have like Sphinx City has a rideshare service called Tuba
Uba.
because if you say Uber in a New York accent, it comes out Uba. And so the idea is like,
Hey, give me a
This business
fucking
is
Uber.
yeah, so I just put a T on the top of it and I called it Tuba. And originally
that.
the joke was, this is so stupid. The joke originally was the idea that certain root vegetables are referred to as tubers, right?
Mm.
Tuber.
Yeah.
Like a sweet potato. And so the mascot would be a little sweet potato with eyeballs. And let me tell you, when you say, oh yeah, and then there's this rideshare program called Tuba, and they have a sweet potato mascot, no one gets that joke. It goes over everyone's head. So I changed it. So I changed it to no. Tuba is a rideshare program that only plays big band music. And their mascot is a tuba with eyes.
I love that. I love
Man.
that.
But now that makes me question like where what's the in-canon like universe explanation? Is there like a boardroom being like, guys, no one gets tuba. Like no one understands our branding. What do we do?
Their culinary education is not up to par.
It's like I think our first problem was associating this with a root vegetable.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It's
Seriously.
fine. Just play big band music. It'll be fine. We'll do it that
Perfect.
way, and then everybody will get it.
And then you see the
Everybody will
green
get that
line
one.
go up and up and up.
Johnson, you're a genius.
Take the rest of the day off.
Dude, I love that.
Hell yeah.
That
It's-
is very
it-
Sphinx
funny.
City is an absolute blast.
It-
But Public
yeah.
Domains was also like a true fucking treat. Like that
Yes,
show
I-
is so dope to
I
write.
want to get more into public domains real quick. So, like walk me through that, right? Because like, I'm gonna like throw some stuff at you real quick. But do you guys like? I have to ask, was the inspiration a bit of Never After?
Oh, great question. Yes and no, actually. So like
Really?
Never After wasn't really specifically the Never After like was an idea that I was like, oh, that's so sick. That's really fun. Like I forgot that there's so many characters that you can just use.
Yeah.
So it opened the door. But I also like I used to love the movie League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
And
Mhm.
any kind of fiction, like even that ABC show Once Upon a Time, like any fucking
Ooh, I
TV show
love
that
that show.
combines different
Mhm.
properties, I've always been into. So Never After was a part of it. And then during an adventuring party,
Yeah.
Allie mentioned something about Winnie the Pooh, and Brendan says, "Yeah, one of these days we'll do a public domains thing, and you could be Winnie the Pooh." And I said, "Not if I do it first." You said,
Yes.
"Idiot. Not if I do it first." I love you so much.
Yoink.
That one in the brain, Brendan Lee Mulligan.
And so we just snagged that one.
Honestly, props.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah,
it,
that
go
was
for
kind of
it.
it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had been
And it
working
really-
on it a little bit, so I had this whole idea. Is like, all right, the public domains. I'll have all these different like areas on the map of
Mhm.
where different characters can be from.
Yeah.
And here's my idea for villains and all different kinds of stuff. And then I'll ask the players who they want to play and base the whole thing around that and come
Yeah.
up with this idea or whatever.
I'd-
And it was so fun.
Watching that listening to that campaign on my work days for when we were first trying to get together was like such a treat. And I had in one of my notes saying like, whoever played Winnie the Pooh has the most insane luck ever. I don't know if your memory's kind of
my
fresh on
God,
that.
Alex.
Alex
Yes.
was rolling nonstop natural 20s, and I was like, this must be.
She truly, it like changed my outlook on the grapple ability.
Oh yeah.
Like single-handedly made me rethink how powerful grappling is.
On a barbarian,
You know what I
hell
mean?
yeah.
Like-
That's like.
Absolutely.
We've all been there where like you're reading a monster stat block and it's like, oh, it's got quills, so it doesn't a 1d6 if you're grappling it, and
Mhm.
9 times out of 10 I'm like, who cares? No one's gonna grapple it. And then Winnie the Pooh came along, Eldritch Knight. If you haven't seen the show, I highly recommend go checking out. This isn't a spoiler, but there does come a very close moment of curb stomping with a brick from the yellow brick road. So that to give you an idea of how off the wall crazy Alex was as a performer
Yeah.
playing Winnie the Pooh. Not to
Everybody
mention
at the table. All of our jaws just kind of dropped when she said that. She's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take this brick from the yellow brick road," and because she had taken it like 2 episodes before, and we all forgot.
yeah, it
she
was like
had
a
it.
portable curb stomp.
Oh my God.
It was so that she could curb stomp wherever she didn't need a brick.
Yeah.
Like who needs a curb when you have a brick in your pocket? It was like
Oh, boy.
Exactly.
Get ready to get
Damn,
curb stomped,
that's
motherfucker.
metal as fuck.
Like, bite
Yeah.
this. Bite this, it's gonna hurt less. Was
yeah.
Oh my
That's
God!
gnarly
In
lines.
Winnie the Pooh's voice, that's terrifying.
yeah,
Get
yeah.
ready to get curb
Just
stomped.
imagining Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, just imagine
Alex
Winnie the
did
Pooh,
Winnie the Pooh
a
voice.
childhood favorite. Just like bite this, it'll hurt less.
I
I'd
love
shit my
Alex's
pants.
voice when she was
That
doing Winnie
is
the Pooh.
crazy.
It was
Yeah.
fun.
So good. That whole show was so fun. Let me ask you. So, did you watch all of Public Domains? Because I have a question that I'm still struggling with as the DM of that season.
I've watched I watched all of Public Domain, so feel free to ask your questions. Though, admittedly, my memory is like a bit shoddy. So just I still want you
worries.
to ask your question.
Do you remember the Mad Hatter fight?
Yes, I remember the Mad Hatter fight he brought up.
A bit divisive, and so I would love to talk about it because I made
Let's see.
one of the strongest DM decisions of my life.
Yeah.
I decided the Mad Hatter, right? We're all familiar with this character, a little kooky, a little crazy, topsy-turvy, from Wonderland, all of this ideas, right? Happy on birthdays, all this kind of weird topsy-turviness. So what if instead of having to roll over their AC, you had to roll under it? And so flipping the main mechanic of D&D combat, which is roll high, switching that to rolling low. So a nat 20 is actually a natural fail, and a nat 1 is actually a critical success.
That is
super interesting.
That is
when you're rocking a +9. It's not great.
Let me ask you this: what was
becomes hard?
What was the Mad Hatter's AC?
It was like a 13, 14 or something.
13,
like that.
14. So
were they wearing armor of any kind?
Light armor. I can't remember specifically. But yeah, they were wearing some kind of light armor.
I would have gone on to you if you had them at like an insanely low or an insanely high AC. But in my head, 13 to 14 with modifiers, it's kind of middle of the road. So I feel like you're still in that, you're in that good area. Man, that is
well, like Taylor said, if you're rocking a +9,
that is
on a 13 or 14, that is still like what you have to roll less than a 5. Less than a 4 or a 5. Yeah, that is. You have to almost nat 1.
What was brutal?
What was the reaction at first? Because like my brain's a bit muddled. Do you remember like the reaction once the reality set in?
I mean, Taylor, you could give your own reaction. But my impression was it was like people were like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting, but what the fuck?" is kind of my impression. Like people were like, "Oh, that's kind of quirky, but annoying."
It is a mechanic I think would be interesting for like a single fight, and if you did it again, the players would just be exasperated.
Oh, for sure.
Exactly. Which of course it was only for the Mad Hatter. There were even other combatants of that fight where it didn't apply to them. This entire mechanic.
But then
applied
just
to the
threw
Mad
them
Hatter.
off the edge.
Yeah, fucking Pooh.
God
yeah, that was another crazy one. Pooh grappled, fell off a cloud into endless nothingness, and I was like,
Zombie
sacrifice, and then Misty stepped, and I was
correct me if I'm
crazy.
wrong. Was Zombie Paul Bunyan in that final fight? Okay.
Not the same fight as the Mad Hatter, but yes, Zombie Paul Bunyan did show up,
and one of the final bosses.
Okay, yeah. Because I remember, I remember that specifically from Zombie Paul Bunyan, and I was like, "Man, that is such a weird term, but also really cool." Like, I love the public domain for that reason, because you can basically take any kind of literary work, and then boom, you have your groundwork, and now you can start building and sculpting from that. Moving back to
my own.
Yeah, how do you make it your own? Like, for example, Daniel Hargrove was also in that campaign. He played Zorro, and we end up learning in his backstory that he was trained by Puss in Boots. So,
yes,
I love that.
And I remember like watching that, being like, "Huh." So the A to B is,
it was a lot of the. No, a lot of public domains was the kind of subversion of the stories.
Yeah,
like the Wicked Witch of the West.
We're gonna do it different. Yeah,
Wicked means like Wicked from Boston.
Wicked Witch in the East.
Yeah, Wicked Witch in the East. Yeah.
It was like Wicked awesome.
That's wicked.
Yeah. Exactly.
And, and it was, instead of Emerald City, it was the Emerald Inn. So it was like a Motel 8 on the side of the Yellow Brick Road.
I loved every part of
the pool and
yeah. I loved every part of the public domains. The one thing that I am like struggling to concept is Cthulhu being a bartender. Because right. So you have this eldritch horror, right? And he can rattle the minds of anyone who gazes upon him. Let's make him a bartender where he's interacting with people 24/7.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You know what it was?
What?
It was because somebody was thinking about playing Cthulhu.
Oh,
And
so you had to
I
go
left
in and be
Cthulhu
like
until the end. I left
Okay.
Cthulhu until the end, and then I was like, fuck, I need a bartender. And I was like, God, how funny is it that it's Cthulhu? Hilarious. Let's do it.
And Cthulhu's there. No,
And also
that
you
is
see
funny.
Cthulhu looking deeply into their eyes. No, it was
Mhm.
a ton of fun thinking of different characters and like how they would work, and like even
Yeah.
like someone really small who I ended up backdooring as a bigger deal was Tarzan from the very
Yeah.
beginning.
Ooh.
Yeah, because that's
like-
the first guy you meet in like this little cave after you
One of
fight.
the first guys we meet.
Yeah, you fight
Yeah.
you fight King Kong on Skull Island, and then at the end of the cave is Tarzan.
And Tarzan is near the treasure and stuff.
Yeah.
And so obviously Tarzan, king of the jungle, strong white dude in a jungle. That's kind of the gist, right? We get it.
Yep.
And so I thought, man, there's something about, because Tarzan isn't like superhuman, right? He's just
Mhm.
very strong.
He's just a guy.
Yeah, he's above normal, but not anything crazy.
Right.
So what happens when he just keeps getting older? And like how something about that
Mm.
was so funny to me, being like an ancient Tarzan in the jungle still, and just being like, I'm king of the jungle. Was so funny to me.
That's me, King of the Jungle.
I love that.
I thought that was
That's
just
so
so
funny.
funny. And a tip to DMs: if you give an NPC a silly old man voice, like a prospector voice like that,
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10 your players won't do insight checks. They don't care. They just
Yeah.
think it's funny.
Yeah.
And so the amount of times you can use that to against them, I use funny voices against my party all the time, and it
I-
always pays off. It's just like they don't
Arthur,
care
are
as
you
much.
using funny voices against me?
So funny thing, I used that recently. So
Shit.
I have a character in Tempora called Olga Gothel, and she is she appears as just a friendly old, maybe demented nurse. But then remember, Goldbrand, one of our PCs, wanted to find someone to do body modifications to them, and then the big reveal came where like Madame Gothel, the dwarven medic, is actually this demented necromancer who
Oh my
like
god, you did do that.
I did do that, yeah. Remember,
My
But
god,
I-
I didn't even catch on to it until just now when you told me.
but see, the trick doesn't work on you, Seb, because you met Madame Gothel beforehand, and you were immediately suspicious when she pulled out a bone saw.
That's because she pulled out that bone saw. You didn't just hit me with a funny voice. You hit me with a funny voice and a bone saw.
Just like, I'll be right back. No, you're not.
Just gonna cut off a guy's leg.
Man, yeah, but I do heavily relate to you on like using funny voices because I always like doing that.
Fuck, I need to
Yeah,
do that.
it's a blast. It's a blast. It's also a really fun way to kind of like diffuse an intense situation or just like inject some humor into things. Like there's nothing I like more than subverting expectations and tropes and stuff. So like I love it when a villain is mid monologue and then kind of breaks their normal syntax. So for example, somebody being like, and the world will suffer and
Yeah.
bend at my knee because you know that little piece of shit, Daniel. What's his deal? How dare you try and
How dare
took my
you.
lunch money the other day. What the hell is that about? And so like the idea going from this like Lord of the Rings Sauron level speech and switching quickly and then like tossing a curse word in and kind of like your entire vernacular changes. I love that shit. It's so funny to me.
Yeah, me too.
I do that a lot with gods,
Mhm.
with like deities
Hell yes.
that the party's
His
trying
name.
to talk to.
yeah,
Like
good-
I have
I do that
yeah, in my campaign I have a cleric who's a life domain cleric of Sun, the goddess of beauty.
Mhm.
And every week she uses her channel divinity just to talk to Sun. Every week.
Hell yeah.
And then-
Every week. I gave them 12 weeks of downtime. She called Sun 12 times. So
I
at
love
some
that.
point, at some point, Sun just stopped talking like some like regal goddess of beauty. It was just like, hey man, you need to stop using your fucking channel divinity to call me. I gave you this to use in emergencies in
I-
case you get in trouble. You cannot keep using it to call me.
Seb is like this all the time. Just don't.
It's cause Fenley calls soon every time.
Right, but I can. I feel like you can still get away with being like, "Hey, for real, you need to stop doing this. This is clingy behavior. You are."
Hi, stage 5 clinger, actually, I think.
hearing the goddess of beauty saying, clingy much?
That's really funny. I have in one of my paid games, I have a warlock to Asmodeus. And
Ooh,
I've
those.
decided to. He's still very much the Lord of the Hells and all the 9 yards and all that shit, right? But for just the sake of the longevity of the campaign and kind of keeping the levity, and my normal vibe is always leaning towards comedy anyway.
Right.
I've treated him almost more as, instead of like the devil of hell, I've treated him kind of more as like the devil of heck. So every time he meets with this warlock and they have like a vision and they're encountering, it's always at some, like the first time it was at a restaurant where every time the server looks like they're about to bring you your food, oh, it goes to a different table. Oh no.
Oh no. The devil of minor inconveniences.
Exactly.
He
And so
sounds like he would have a Canadian
Asmodeus.
accent. He sounds like he would have a
Oh,
Canadian accent.
I'm 100% stealing that from you. I'm so sorry.
No, please have it. Have it. I think in that game, I think I do Asmodeus. I think I use my Mufasa voice where it's. So yeah, listen, I'm gonna have the huevos rancheros. What do you
You know what? That works very well as too. That also works really well for that.
Side tangent, I feel like the devil of minor inconveniences is following me every day of my life. Does everyone else feel like that? Where, like,
Yes.
I'm running to work on my
work in
bike.
retail.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, you're riding to work on your bike, and then suddenly you feel the back tire go down a little, and it's like, God fucking damn it.
Yep.
My
We have a ton
God.
of fun. Always just trying to come up with like dumb ideas of like.
Yeah.
I mean, we came up with a bunch of deities for Sphinx City,
Yeah.
and Taylor and I worked on that, and it was really just like,
Mhm.
okay, how can we make this dumb and silly, but also like it is a powerful deity? So like we're going through all the domains of clerics, like
Yeah.
different
Mhm.
subclasses, because it's the easiest and fastest way to make a D&D pantheon.
Mhm.
And that also will immediately apply mechanically to your game. Is
Yeah.
just look at cleric subclasses and be like, war. Okay, which one's the war god?
Yeah, that
Life.
that is actually really
Okay.
good advice. Like, no, like,
It's huge. Same thing with like
Yeah.
warlock patrons. Like you just go through the subclasses and you're like, all right, I need
What
a
fits
fey one,
where?
I need a great old one.
yeah.
Done.
Where's the
So
red
you
That
guys
does
want
work
twine?
then-
really well.
It really is just like a great building starting
Yeah.
off point. But yeah, we came
Man.
up with some really freaking stupid ones. I think the nature deity is just a giant pigeon. It's just the biggest pigeon I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, for like a Manhattan
Peace-
themed setting,
Peace
of
Domain.
course.
Yeah, the peace domain one is, I forget the name of it, Taylor, but it was like Mario the Maestro. It was Mario the Pizza Maestro. And he
Yeah.
just makes pizza because
Just a dude named Mario that makes pizza. I'm
Mhm.
looking
it could be
for
what brings people together peacefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm-
Pizza, food.
I'm literally
Mhm.
Pizza.
scouring our outlines for our for the pantheon that we came up with.
hmm
There were some really
Um,
silly ones.
yeah.
I mean,
If-
the trickery domain is 3-card Monty,
Oh,
Mhm.
that's awesome.
based on that Hustlers
Mhm.
game with
That's cool.
3 cards. You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
gosh,
Set-
we did fact and fiction. I can't remember if that's knowledge domain or one of them, but it was the idea of like, you know, with the internet, you can find a ton of great sources, and some of them will just be straight up fake news.
the misinformation domain. Yeah.
Yeah,
The idea
that's
that-
the
that-
knowledge
That would
domain.
be
knowledge-
so funny.
The knowledge domain represents both sides. So there's
Mhm.
fact and fiction. So the idea, it's almost like the theater masks.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
have one side who's like, no. This event happened and the earth is round. And the other side is like, I don't know.
War
It
God
might be flat.
Oh.
I don't know. Have you ever
Hey.
seen the curvature of the Earth? I
is
haven't.
so good.
If the
These
Earth
are
was
so
flat,
good.
we'd fall off. If the Earth was round, we'd fall off. The world is a
The
big
War God is
basket.
just yeah.
Uh,
War God's just named Glock.
Smith and Wesson.
Hi,
I
my
nearly
name's
did.
Glock.
I nearly did that for like a war god way back when, where I would just name it after a fucking rifle. But I was like, no, let's keep it. I wanted to do high fantasy, so I was like, nah, let's keep it high fantasy, right?
Mhm.
Let me get your guys' opinion on this. So, right now we're just like shooting straight, like going all over the place. But, how do you guys feel about like making certain game material off limits, right? Like, do you think in some cases it's warranted, or are you more on the side of like,
Ooh.
they can play whatever they want in my high fantasy game, right? Like if someone comes in as Master Chief, that's totally fine. How do you guys feel about that? I'm
valid.
curious.
It
Interesting.
really, really depends on the table. I think it's
Yeah.
something that gets discussed in session 0, but I, for the most part, my personal views is it's written in the game. It's got playtesting and stuff behind it. You know, it'd be one thing if you're trying to like homebrew something and shoehorn it in, but if it's in
Of course,
actual, you know, game literature, then yeah, go ahead and use it and I'll roll with it.
yeah. I'm more or less
Yeah.
for the people who like ban Artificer at their table because of like tonal reasons. Yeah.
It really depends. There, like, because we also have talked about doing I actually did a low magic style game. Excuse me, actual play. It's like it's a 3-episode run. What Lies in Darkness is basically like a homage to Resident Evil, but
Yeah.
in that setting, it really doesn't make sense to have super crazy magic. It's because magic doesn't really
Right.
exist in that world. So, the way that I kind of did it was everybody was kind of low magic, and any of the magic that they did have was described to be kind of a physical effect rather than a magical effect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Interesting.
super interesting.
I mainly asked
we were
that.
under a time crunch. Like
Yeah.
in reality, there probably would have been a better RPG for that particular game. I mean,
For
it worked
sure.
great and it worked fine, and we had a ton of fun regardless.
But like
and I think that's
learning a new
okay.
system is like a hurdle all on its own.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some systems are really easy to learn, some are really hard. But
Like-
it also was like, again, this was like a Halloween vibed game around Resident Evil, so it kind of has to come around October. So it's like we legitimately just don't have time to learn a new game, right? And run it and make a game show out of it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
no thing. That
Like,
being said, I think I fall under the side of like, I think it's totally okay to ban certain things at your table. However, I think that you need to have like a lot of expectations drawn and like discussion about it, and you need to have some really good faith reasons about why you're doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
I think the argument of like, I get rid of, I don't know, silvery barbs because it breaks the game is a poor reason.
Yeah.
However, I think like, hey, Crown of Candy from Dimension 20, they limited healing.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Mhm.
I think that's great. In fact, I
Yeah.
think it actually just it's a way to use the rules. And yes, you're adding limitations and stuff, but as long as you let the players know that those are going to be the limitations, so that if you're like surprising them,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, actually, your life domain cleric can't do shit because there's no healing, then it's like, whoa,
That feels
Yeah.
I
bad.
should have brought that up way early. What are you
For sure,
doing?
yeah.
I've been in that situation
Jerk.
before.
Mhm.
I've been it was in my second or third campaign I'd ever played. This is like a year or two before I met Arthur, and my character died. And
Yeah.
in that campaign, the dungeon master, without telling any of the players, had decided he was going to change how spells like Revivify worked.
Mhm.
So instead of just like acquiring a 300 gold piece worth diamond and then just being able to cast Revivify on someone that's been dead for no longer than a minute, you had to do this like entire ritual and then make a check. And if you failed the check, then
Austin
the
makes us
person
roll
just
for it.
died. Yeah.
Oh, they
So
were
that
using.
wasn't-
I
know
do that in my home game, but the players knew about it beforehand.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
it's the rule that Matt Mercer kind of made, right? Like
Yeah,
they,
it's they do
100%.
that in Critical Role.
yeah,
But, which is fine. I had no problem with that, but it hadn't been discussed in like a session 0. We didn't know
Yeah, it was brought
until
up
someone
mid-game.
died. And we had a
Yeah,
cleric
that
that was actively like spending gold to acquire diamonds to cast Revivify.
Yeah.
In case anybody died, and the DM at no point brought it up beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a cool
I know,
mechanic. It's a
yeah.
fun mechanic that I think would be super interesting if we had known about it prior.
Yeah, for sure.
No doubt. Yeah.
But if you're the player whose character just died, and you're like, oh, the cleric's gonna revive me as Revivify, and then the DM out of nowhere is like, actually, that can feel really bad.
Yeah.
That just feels really bad.
Yeah, because
100%.
I really felt like I was going like through the deep end when I said there are no Warforges and there are no Artificers in this campaign setting yet. Like the keyword is yet. Because the main gimmick of Tempora is that it's basically the start of a D&D world. Like we're in the medieval ages, but we are slowly getting there, right? Because another thing, there are no dragons in Tempora, but literally in the most recent one shot, a dragon appeared, right? And it's like, what the fuck is this thing?
Totally.
In my
Yeah.
defense, you let me take the magic item that allowed
I
me
did.
to summon the dragon.
And I did that fully knowing you were going to use it too, right?
Yeah, we were
Yep.
played a one shot, and I had Arthur was like, "You can take any magic items, just run them past me." And I was like, "Can I have a gold canary figurine of wondrous power, which is a legendary magic item? I don't know if you know what it does, but it allows you to speak a command word, and it turns into a giant bird.
Yeah.
For
Or
an
if
hour.
your
And
HP is
or-
below.
Or
Yeah.
if you're missing half of your hit points, you can speak a command word and turn it into an adult gold dragon for an hour.
Yeah.
And you can do that ability once per year."
And that was the first dragon in Tempora, and that was a really
I
cool
went a little
moment.
crazy
That's
when
awesome.
that happened because I was
Yeah.
playing a wild magic sorcerer, so I just went on a tirade about how I'm an entity of chaos, and through the power of chaos, I created this creature that has never existed before.
Yeah, created in quotes,
Hell
but
yeah.
we're gonna get into that in lore. But
Hell yeah.
our time is
I love that.
our time is running a bit short. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on and talking with us. I have one last question for you guys before we end, though. What are you guys' favorite dice sets that you own?
Ooh.
You mean colors or like shapes of dice? Because I'm
Anything.
partial to the
Any-
D8. But
Any like a specific dice set, a specific type of dice, like do you own like a green dice set that you own? Do you have like one that's like
Taylor and I
bullets?
differ on this big time. I have a strong dislike of metal dice. I'll just throw that out
I
there. That's not what your
love
question
metal
was.
dice.
But
Yeah.
I know Taylor
Yeah.
likes them. I
Mm.
prefer so like the interesting thing is for actual plays, I honestly all I care about is how legible the dice is.
Right.
Mhm.
That's a true thing,
fair.
and that's so specific to actual plays because I can't stand like when I'm editing and I'm like, God, this is fucking 10 seconds. I'm leaning over out of camera frame to fucking read the dice.
Yeah.
Why did I choose this one? Whereas I have other ones that are so legible, you can read them from a mile away. So
Right.
during actual plays, I would answer that way. But for home games, and in truth, I am a big fan of like the ones that are like incredibly sharp and the edges are very defined.
Ooh, like the sharp
You know
edge
what I mean?
resin
Like,
dice.
I don't like it when they're a little rounded,
Mm-hmm.
like a chess
Ooh.
X, where they're like slightly
Yeah.
rounded.
That
Not that
is.
there's anything
yeah.
wrong with that. I have a ton of those, but
Mhm.
I prefer it when the edges are very, very defined. Like I have a lot of ones that are very crystally looking, like amethyst or some purple stone that you put under the moon.
That is awesome. What about you, Taylor?
It's hard to say, but I will go ahead and I'm going to pick one because all of my dice are my children.
Yep.
But but no, I do have one set, and I talked about it earlier in the thing. I go to a convention, Magfest, every year.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 years ago, or every year I go there, I get a set of dice. And then 2 years ago, I got a set of dice. And actually, the case that it came in is signed by Erika Ishii. It says, "May these dice always tell great stories."
Red.
Nice.
And,
That's sick.
Yeah, and they have. It really is like
Mhm.
the dice themselves. I let the table know I'm pulling it out just to see. It's really it's either gonna go really well or really poorly. There is no middle ground
Yeah,
with those dice, and I love them. I love
for
them
sure.
to death.
That's awesome. That's
You guys
awesome.
have been wonderful talking to. I have to get going because my
Yes.
ride is here of like legit. But again, you both are wonderful. I hope to talk to you guys sometime. If you do a public domain season 2, invite me. This is my plan all along. No, like for real, you guys are a treasure. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
stopping
thank you guys
by.
for coming on. Thank you.
pleasure.
This was
Thanks
fun.
for having us.
Thanks
This
for
was so
having
much
us.
fun.